Also, you shouldn't go to women to listen to your political opinions. They just regurgitate what men say. And yes, that includes me. So don't listen to women.
She appeals to violent racists who fetishize Asian women.
What the based? Actually fucking based? Well, no, that's not how it works though, because they need propaganda. They need everybody parroting the same thing to form the consensus. So that way the normies know exactly what to think. And the normies teach their children what to think. And it carries on to keep them pushing to their final goal. Let's get to the video.
Hello friends, and welcome to another episode of What the Hell is Going On with your host, Ugly Belle Delphine. Now before you ask, yes, there is an Epstein Files video coming out. I feel like everyone has like streamer brain nowadays, and like every fucking video has to be breaking news in order to get the most views. But I am taking my time with it. I'm sure you understand, there is a lot happening.
You know, with this anti-Semitic culture right now, she voted against a resolution condemning.
Oh,
is
Jewish.
Jewish.
I
just want to be clear.
Do you want to go there, Attorney General? Do you want to go there? Are you serious?
Gentlemen,
Talking about anti-Semitism to a woman who lost her grandfather in the Holocaust.
Your country, sir.
Women shouldn't be in politics, man. Women should not be in politics. I know, before somebody comes up, actually, the guys do the same thing. I know to a certain degree that guys do the same thing, but come on, that whole thing that Pam Bondi did a couple weeks ago was a complete, absolute embarrassment. She's been an embarrassment since basically day one since she got her role. And it should have been Matt Gaetz. It should have been Matt Gaetz, man. And now look at what we have. Absolute clown show. But I'm pretty sure she only is staying in charge just because she fights against, like, she's so staunch on anti-Semitism. That's literally it. That's literally it. She's just like, everything she does is in the name of anti-Semitism and protecting the Jews, and that's literally the only reason why she still has her place. Absolute incompetent bimbo. Fucking hell.
Anyway, let's just forget about these satanic billionaire pedophiles running the world, and let's talk about some internet drama, shall we? Because that is what's really important. For a little over a decade now, the most inane things can get you called a racist or a Nazi on the internet, to the point where these words hold little to no meaning anymore. It's so bad that when someone is called a racist or a Nazi online, I'm immediately like, oh, what funny joke did they tell? But ladies and gentlemen, we have officially come to the point where not saying anything also makes you a racist Nazi. For the few of you watching this channel who are employed, there's a very popular Twitch streamer named Emiru. She's a cosplayer and just kind of a fun, chill, normie video game streamer. Well, the other day, someone in her chat asked her opinion about ICE. Video game streamer. Well, the other day, someone in her chat asked her opinion about ICE, and this is what she had to say.
Like, there's a certain extent where I'm like, okay, sure, I get people wanting big content creators to, like, say their opinions on, like, important topics. I get that, right? But it's like, if you need a streamer who doesn't even know anything about politics to tell you about politics, you probably just need to get off the internet.
In a world where it seems like every single celebrity is just screaming their political takes completely unprompted, this was a refreshing thing to hear. Seems like a pretty sane, rational, inoffensive thing to say, right? Wrong. This short little clip where she ironically tried to avoid controversy ended up being one of the most controversial dramas this year. I feel like decades worth of news has happened in the past like 2 months, don't you? Every day there's like a breaking story of the most insane shit you've ever heard in your life, and everyone is expected to have a fully formed opinion on every single breaking story. There's pressure to react, to pick a side, to condemn, to defend. But the reality is, when a story first breaks, we're usually not seeing the full picture. And that's why for years now, I have been using today's sponsor, Ground News.
Okay, before we get into the typical ShoeOnHead ad read situation here, I did kind of cover the Emiru situation a little bit when it happened because it was so ridiculous. And normally I don't get into like the nitty gritty when it comes to like internet drama, especially like Twitch internet drama with e-thoughts. But it was such a stupid scenario where she's just like, I'm not a political streamer. I don't talk about politics. You don't need every single person that exists to talk to you about politics and about certain issues. Leave me alone. But then the dumb bitch actually the double like decided to, okay, maybe I shouldn't call her a dumb bitch. I know I've heard good things about her despite her being like a cosplaying e-thought. She's like one of the good ones supposedly. But then she like backtracked on the statement. It's like, why did you bend the knee? That is so fucking dumb. Never ever bend the knee. Once they smell the blood in the water, they're like sharks. They'll go after you and or eat you alive. If she just, stay silent for a few days, never would have been such a big deal with it, because her stance is a reasonable thing, and a lot of people came to her defense, including me, even though if I don't really personally like, flesh thoughts, even though I'm an e-thought myself, because it's people need entertainment. People need stuff that they can just sit back, watch, and forget about the world, or else they're gonna go crazy. You can't have the politics shoved in your face 24/7. You're gonna get fatigued, you're gonna be tired, you're gonna be exhausted, you're gonna be stressed beyond hell, and you're not gonna be able to focus on literally anything. You're not gonna be able to improve your life. You're gonna be so worried about everything else that's happening outside and not focusing on your own life. It's unhealthy to be constantly worried about politics. You do need different things that exist to distract you from that from time to time if you are interested in politics. Or you can be like a regular normally and stick your head in the sand and not have to worry about that at all, which frankly does sound appealing. In Emiru as one of those escapism aspects where guys can just sit there and enjoy her personality and her cosplays and not have to worry about that kind of deal. It's not that deep, since I am also a shill, an e-thought as I say. Remember chat, use code Amalgamyte for 10% off at thedragonstreasure.com for your tea, soap, coffee, and energy drink needs, because the team has got new fancy energy drinks. I do like the teas quite a lot. I do like the soaps quite a lot. I don't like coffee, so I can't judge the coffee. I've heard good things about the powder drinks. Like, yeah, if you want to help support the channel and the base team man who's not gonna cancel me because I say the N word, use code Amalgamite. 10% off the order. It'd be hella cool. Hella fucking cool. Okay, now we're gonna let Shue shill because she's better at this than I am.
So let's quickly give them a shout out before we jump into today's video, shall we? Ground News is a website and an app that lets you see how news stories are being covered all across the political spectrum, from left, right, and center. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown of political bias, ownership, and headlines that helps you understand the full story and really make sure you're getting both sides. They really make it fun and easy to compare headlines to see how political bias and media ownership can affect the framing of a story. For example, let's take a look at this one about how RFK admits he used to snort cocaine off toilet seats. If you look it up on Ground News, a right-wing headline covers it like this: RFK revealed why he wasn't scared of COVID. It was a legendary answer. And a left-wing outlet covers the same story like this: Robert F. Kennedy Jr. doesn't fear germs, and his reason is really, really gross. Same story, completely different vibes. The Ground News
I mean, that is true. Like, it's good to get two sides of the same story here.
feature I like the most is the blind spot tool. It shows you how news stories have been covered by only one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here's a story about how Hillary Clinton says migration has gone too far. Rare Hillary Clinton W. Suspicious. 37 sources covered it, 91% of those sources were right-wing, and only 4% were left-wing. Interesting. Or this one about how middle-class Americans are selling plasma because of financial pressure. Americans are selling their blood because they're so poor. 71% of the sources that covered this were left-wing, and only 14% were right-wing. I have been using Ground News for like 5 years now, and I am obsessed. It is one of the first apps I open when I wake up in the morning. It really helps me stay informed and helps me keep up with the news for my videos. But don't just take my word for it. Even the Nobel Peace Center recognized Ground News as an excellent way to stay informed, avoid echo chambers, and expand your worldview. Best of all, I am currently offering 40% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features. This comes to only like $5 a month, which is like the price of a cup of coffee nowadays. To get the 40% discount, just go to ground.news/shue or use the QR code on screen right here, or click the link in the video description down below to subscribe to their Vantage plan today. Big thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not
I have a woman moment real quick. She's got a really cute shirt. I kind of want it. All she needs is like a choker or like a necklace, and it'd be like, but a very short necklace, and I feel like that'd be kind of perfect. I love the shirt. It's really cute.
skipping the ad as always. Right? And now let's get back to the video. In this video, we are going to talk about the drama surrounding Emiru, the people trying to cancel her, the mistake the left is making by embracing cancel culture again. We're gonna read some insane, hilarious tweets, of course, and then we will talk about my personal experience with these people. And what do I mean by these people? I mean the cult of the crybullies. I'm sorry if I sound even more like a prepubescent boy in this video. I am a little bit sick, but I am here, slaving over a hot laptop. For you. If you guys saw my last video, you know I am quite critical of ICE. I don't think we should abolish them, of course, but I think it is good and healthy to criticize your government. I am a political culture war commentator. I talk about political topics often. People come to me to hear my political opinions. But not everybody wants to be a political YouTuber or streamer. And not everybody wants to listen to a political YouTuber or streamer. Sometimes we just want to have fun and talk about other things. There are lots of other things to talk about. Sometimes
Also, you shouldn't go to women to listen to your political opinions. They just regurgitate what men say. And yes, that includes me. So don't listen to women.
we want to look at funny memes or watch funny videos without having politics shoved down our throat. So a lot of people thought it was really refreshing when a cosplay streamer was basically like, I don't want to talk about politics. Why are you coming to me for politics? It was a perfectly sane, rational opinion. So of course, like, half the internet had a problem with it. It's just not that hard to say f ice. It's really not that hard to say f ice, to be honest. Is it so hard to just say f ice? It's really not hard to say f ice. Jesus Christ, how hard is it to just say f ice? How hard is it to just say f ice? How hard is it to just say f ice and move on? Oh my god. Just say f ice. It's not hard. Is it so hard to just say the line? Say the line! Say it! Jesus Christ, like, at this point, even if Emiru did want to, like, abolish ice, even if she really did think f ice, she shouldn't say it. Like, I wouldn't say it at this point, because this is just, like, this is creepy. This is like a horde of zombies chasing after you. Hey, it's actually super easy to stream and have opinions. I'll show you. F ICE, f Donald Trump and everyone in his administration, f Elon Musk, free Palestine, US is on stolen land built by stolen people, Luigi did nothing wrong, abortion is healthcare, leave trans people the f alone.
This is so ridiculous. The leftists are batshit insane, which I know is something that we're all like very, very well aware of at this point. But have you considered that maybe people just want to stream and not have opinions on like political situations? Because I know, okay, so the problem is you have to come from the leftist perspective. Because from my perspective, it's simply, okay, so fuck ICE, fuck Donald Trump, that's all left wing opinions. And so therefore, if she says this stuff, she's going to separate her fan base that are more right leaning. And honestly, men are generally more right leaning, and the ones that obviously there's some men out there that don't have jobs and still donate to online women beyond their means. But there are also a lot of men out there that are usually pretty conservative that have built up a business or have a decent career. Something along those lines where they actually make decent money because that's having a work ethic is by basically right wing these days. And so therefore they do have the money to spend on their entertainment. And for a lot of guys, well, welcome in chat. Their entertainment is the online e-thought that yaps about various things. And obviously in my case, I talk politics, and that's fine, right? Like that's because I've always found politics interesting since I was like 12 years old. Okay, so for a good chunk of my life, I've been very into politics. At this point in time, but for a lot of women, that's not their realm, and that's actually a good thing. And they just want to, in this case, cosplay and have fun. And so then men spend the money on the cute girls doing cute things. It's the tale as old as time. And so if they do actually be political, and then they're dividing their fan base, well, a lot of them are actually probably going to be more right-leaning. Like, because men are generally more right-leaning than women by a fucking long shot. Statistics been showing this for like well over a decade, too. And then she's gonna lose a ton of her income here. Like, but the left thinks that these are the base normal opinions. That saying fuck ICE is the humane, the immoral, the correct solution for things. And if you're actually supporting a vice, you're an evil Nazi fascist dictator and a horrible person, and you should die. They literally think that you should die. They make lists for this shit. They constantly talk about who needs to be assassinated next. Especially at the Charlie Kirk, they've been celebrating nonstop even before Charlie Kirk. They tried assassinating Trump multiple times. Republicans were getting shot at baseball games. People were getting shot in the street in Portland for wearing a MAGA hat. Like, these people are openly violent to anything that's like against their paradigm, really. And so to them, saying fuck guys, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Elon Musk, free Palestine, these are the correct normal opinions. And straying away from them or not having them makes you evil. And so therefore it should be what she has to say. They can't see past these lens at all because they are so captured by the ideology. Ugh.
Alone. These people literally just speak in bumper stickers, dude. Just like copy pasting the internet leftist starter pack. What the hell am I looking at? I hate the Reddit ass. Hey, it's super easy. It's crazy, like 1,000 years ago, this dude's ancestors were hunting mammoths. And now he's on here like, Men should not be speaking like this. I'm sorry. We need another war. The post that really seemed to kick this all off was made by Denims, the self-described largest female political streamer. Only because I don't stream, Denims. Only because I don't stream. Anyway, I don't
Actually true. If Shoe started streaming, those numbers would be absolutely insane. Anyways.
Any like personal beef with denims. This isn't like an own denims video. We used to be kind of cool years ago, but she apparently has some opinions on Emiru, so let's hear her out. Never thought I'd see the day we'd be fence-sitting the modern Gestapo. First of all, she's not fence-sitting. She's just choosing not to talk about politics. Like, in order to fence-sit, you actually have to say something. She didn't even say anything. Like, how do you even know what her opinion is? Second of all, modern Gestapo? Why is everything the f***ing Holocaust? It's totally normal to criticize ICE. It's totally understandable to have issues with the things they are doing, but
So, to answer Shu's question on why everything has to be based off the Holocaust, because that's the mythos. But, like, going back to the whole, like, stealing political opinions from men, I stole this from 4chan. There's a famous 4chan post about the mythos of civilization, and I do think it's, since I've read that, it's been, like, stuck in my mind for ages now because of how accurate it is. Because there's always legends, right? There's always lore. There's always, stories being passed down through generations to talk about what their ancestors did to, inspire them to be more and to give more teaching to morality and just basically be the foundation for how the civilization is to develop. And in the modern Western world, our mythos for our foundation is the Holocaust. Because that was the end of essentially imperialism and a lot of colonialism too. And into this new liberal world order where everyone is equal and we have to stop being racist because it was just a little bit longer. That wasn't that long before civil rights happened and women's rights. And we learned about the horrors of war because of how many people died, and we promised never again, never again. Right? Genocide bad, war bad. We must all get along and sing kumbaya and have no problems whatsoever. And I mean that's true, right? Genocide is bad, war is bad. I don't like the fact that lots of young white men go off to die for pointless things. And Hitler bad, right? But that was 80 years ago. Like the people who lived through World War II aren't alive anymore. You're mixing up World War One and World War II. Okay, so wait, there's still World War II vets then, but there's no World War One. Okay, my apologies for being the dumb woman once again. If you're Jewish and over 7 years old, you're a survivor. Okay, you literally reported on how that one Brit vet was crying about how World War II was a mistake just a few months ago. I know, I remember that, but at the same time, how is he not dead? Like my question still remains. I mean, I'm glad he's not dead, right?
modern Gestapo? Don't you guys get tired of this shit? Like, don't you guys get tired of saying, like, isn't this exhausting after a while? Everything is Nazis, everything is the Holocaust, everyone is Hitler. It's like nothing else bad ever happened in history. Like, what did they used to compare bad things to before World War II? Oh my god, you're literally Napoleon. Also, I love this. Racist
I could actually totally see that because Napoleon has been so vilified for what he was doing. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
God. Like, where did the racism part, like, where did that come from? Listen, I don't get on camera and start talking about cars or math or taxes or investing or going outside or the plenty of other things I don't know about. I sit here and talk about the gender war and the culture war because I'm good at those things and that's what people watch me for. That is my lane and I stay in it. Emiru likes what she's doing. Her audience likes what she's doing. There are plenty of other channels that will regurgitate your political takes back to you. Just turn on the TV. Turn on CNN. Most normal people, are sick and tired of celebrities just like spewing their political takes completely unprompted. I don't care what Glub Shido thinks of politics, okay? Why does Glub Shido have to get on stage and start talking about how we're on stolen land or some shit? Why do you need your political opinions thrown up into your mouth by a celebrity like a fucking baby bird? Like, do you really want Sydney Sweeney throwing up in your mouth? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. Please don't answer that.
She's right when she says most.
Chat, do you want Sydney Sweeney throwing up in your mouth? Answer that, please. I want to know your opinion. Perhaps! Yes, please! Well, ... Mommy, feed me! We got a few no's. Thank God. Kinda. Oh my god. Depends on what else she's willing to do with me. Not really no. Okay, seems like there's more no's than yeses so far. It's not a no. Oh. Maybe we're about 50-50. No, okay, we got some no's. You guys are relatively reasonable. Some of you guys are relatively reasonable here. Good. I'm proud of most of you, chat.
Streamers are not qualified to talk about politics. Okay, here's the thing, dude. You actually don't have to be qualified to talk about politics to say f ICE. It's not that hard of a concept.
You actually don't have to know what you're talking about in order to just say the line. What? You should look into a topic, do your own research, come to your own conclusion, and form your own opinion on the topic. You should not just blindly, mindlessly say the line.
Well, no, that's not how it works though, because they need propaganda. Like they need every single big name, not even big name. They need everybody parroting the same thing to form the consensus, so that way the normies know exactly what to think, and the normies teach their children what to think if they're even having children in the first place. And it carries on, so they keep on pushing to their final goal. They don't care if you don't know what you're talking about. They just want you to say the line because the line is the correct opinion in their eyes, obviously. You don't need to research, you don't need to form your own opinion. They've done all the thinking for you. They just want you to agree with them. And once you agree with them, then that means they've won. And they can keep on pushing forward with the more radical policies. And so, you don't need to think about saying fuck ICE. It's not a hard line to say fuck ICE. It's two words. Fuck ICE. That simple. Carry on with your day. There's no politics behind that whatsoever. No emotion, no thought process. Two simple little words. Say it because daddy propaganda wants you to say it. I was gonna say daddy government, but technically Trump's in charge now. But if it was Biden, that would apply. And you can just move on. You can just move on with your life here.
Who doesn't do political content? Cutie Cinderella. Cutie Cinderella literally never does political content. And even she's capable of saying f ICE. What about Cinna? You don't have to be a political creator to recognize that it's not hard to say f ICE.
You don't have to.
If you're apolitical, if your content does not have any sort of politics whatsoever, if you're the classic Twitch thought where you show your titties and yap about nothing, or if you VTuber who just plays video games, or a guy who does tech related stuff, right? If you're somebody who does absolutely apolitical content and you make a single tweet that says fuck ICE or fuck Donald Trump, congratulations, your content's not political. Now that you've bent the knee, now that you said that thing, you have to continue saying it till the day that you die. That makes you political. As soon as you put your toe into the water, that makes you political. Because they don't care. The left will see you as on their side, and they will keep on wanting to demand you to keep on saying more and more things that whatever they believe in, like trans rights are human rights, and it's okay to be gay, Black Lives Matter, whatever the case is. As soon as you dip one singular big little pinky toe into the water, you're now political. And then that also includes to the right leaning things, like for example, Caleb Hammer, the financial audit guy, right? So the left's been constantly attacking him because he's just giving sound financial advice and he's funny and he lives in Texas. And having personal responsibility is actually a right wing belief in the modern age because the left has given it up. They have past personal work ethic, personal responsibility, taking care of yourself, going to the gym. They've passed all these things to the right. And so that's on them for giving those things up. And it does show that if you try to take care of yourself and be a little individual, that means you are not on the left because the left is all about conformity and being ugly and just doing whatever necessary to advance their goals. And because of that, now they're going after Caleb Hammer. And he has said a few things on Twitter in regards of ICE too. And so now he is political. In my eyes. Maybe I'm accepting the paradigm that I shouldn't have, but I'm also just trying to play the game how it's set. And I want to win the game. And so now that he's made multiple posts about certain topics on Twitter, and he doesn't, I don't really watch his videos all that often, but I kind of do because they're usually pretty good, even though they give me a lot of anxiety. Okay, so now you're political. You're now in the ring. You're now fighting for your side, whatever that is, and you will be carrying this burden until you die.
Be a political content creator to say the line. All your other friends are saying the line, Emiru. Why aren't you saying the line, Emiru?
ICE. Okay, but unironically though, them. Straight up. Hey, them. Yeah, it's them, don't care, and if you don't like that I say that, it's you too. You know what I mean? It's really that easy for me, I'm telling you right now.
There's Emiru's roommate saying the line. Aren't we all proud of her? By the way, where are all her friends during all of this? Where are all her morally righteous, good guy, big streamer friends while this is all going down? While she's being dragged by half the internet for doing absolutely nothing wrong. This girl who literally just came out of an allegedly abusive relationship. This girl who literally just got assaulted, grabbed by some freak at a convention. Now this girl is going through all of this. I guess it's fine to be silent when your friend is getting dragged by half of the internet, but don't you dare stay silent about current thing. I don't even know this woman, and I am sticking my neck out for her because it pisses me off seeing this kind of shit happen to people who absolutely do not deserve it.
If you're above the age of 18, you should care about politics in your fucking country. You don't get to be like, well, I don't agree with this whole taxes thing, so I'm just not gonna pay for it. You can't say like, well, I'm just not gonna care about all this politics stuff.
When someone doesn't have an opinion on a political topic, people like you might get a little mad. When someone doesn't pay their taxes, the government comes and arrests them. Okay, so that's the difference between those things.
Well, it depends on how high you are in the pecking order. If you're elite, if you're a global homo, person of tiny hattery, they don't care as much. They're not gonna go after your ass as long as you're on their side. So, but if you're the average person, yeah, the government actually goes after your ass. And as someone who's been politically involved since I was 12 years old, honestly, if more people were informed about certain subjects, maybe things would be better. But I also know the average person's pretty retarded. And that includes me, because I'm the average person at the end of the day, and I'm pretty fucking retarded. I don't think that would help. And politics is exhausting. It really is tiring. Saying as somebody who does actually like politics is something that's very interesting to me. It does get tiring reading about all these horrible things that are happening in the world on a daily fucking basis and thinking nothing gets better. Every once in a while there's a white pill and something good happens, but generally it's not anything that directly affects me. I guess both in a good and the bad way to a certain degree. And so therefore it's an emotional investment that I have zero control over. If you actually do the math for the time and energy spent and the emotional labor I can say because I'm a woman that goes into it, the math isn't math. It's not worth it because it makes you feel like shit. It exhausts you. And it makes you worry about all these outside factors that you have no control over versus there are things you can worry over that you do have control over, like what you eat, what you're doing today, how your job's going, your family, your friends. For most normies, that's not a cost that's worth it. At all. And because it's technically not if you actually do the math. It's only really worthwhile if you go into a career in politics and become a politician, because then you can just swindle everybody with their taxes. Bro, so I don't blame the normies for sticking their head into the sand when they turn 18. Well, I do wish a lot more people were more informed on a lot of stuff and don't just believe what they hear on the news, because that would help significantly because they are voting. I'm also someone who advocates for the votes to be significantly pressed and only very certain people with certain standards be voting. So if we had that, we wouldn't have to worry about the average person being informed. That's my position on those things.
There's this weird idea in America, especially, where like you can just be an adult and be like, oh, I don't care about politics. What?
Many people, most people, do not care that much about politics. I know to you and me that's like mind-blowing, that's like unfathomable, because our whole life is politics, our job is politics, like I get it. But most people's lives do not revolve around politics. They do other things other than fight with strangers online. Crazy, I know. But man, do I envy them. I was so much happier before I knew. Sadly, it is getting harder and harder for the average person to not care about politics because politics is seeping into literally everything. Politics will be bending you over and spreading your cheeks and going in dry whether you want it or not. And unfortunately, the people who are like, I just want to be left alone, are the people who are the most fucked by politics. Also, more importantly, Emiru wasn't saying that she doesn't care about politics.
That is very true. Like, even though politics is exhausting, and it does sound nice if I stick my head in the sand and not have to worry about these things, as someone who has followed it for as long as I have, I am aware that it comes for everybody. 10 years ago, I would have been like, not everything's political. Now, in the year of our Lord 2026, everything is political. I don't like this. I don't want this to be the way. I do advocate for sections to be apolitical, which is why I was, trying to defend Emiru a little bit, because she was like one of the last bastions of original people who were fighting against this and trying to be apolitical herself, right? Everything is political because the left has made it that way. It will eventually come for you. Even though I'm a fake gamer girl and I haven't played like any fucking games beyond my baby, shit Nintendo things, I knew that eventually it would come for me. And sure enough, over the past few years, Nintendo has been working on with DEI, having ESG and their shit, and it's getting slowly worse and worse. And you can see it in their games in a lot of cases. Like Mario's the best example. If ever comes for Zelda, man, I'm I'm gonna lose my shit. Or Pokemon's an even better example of Nintendo bidding for ESG and DEI right there, right?
She was saying she didn't want to talk about politics. I feel like that is a huge difference. I care a lot about like skincare, but I don't get on here and talk about like peptides and collagen to my audience because they don't give a shit. They're here to watch me say feminism is doo-doo and make silly little faces at the camera. Yeah, you like that shit? I hate when grown women don't have a mind of their own. You are 28 years old, please develop a mind of your own. All she does is pander to anime gooner men. No mind of her own. I never liked Emiru, so finding out she's stupid and doesn't have a mind of her own is nice. The audacity! If she didn't have a mind of her own, she would have mindlessly parroted the shit you want her to say. She would have mindlessly just been like, fuck Ice. If Emiru came out and was like, actually, I think Ice is doing a fine job, do you think they'd be like, ah yes, she has a mind of her own? No, absolutely not! They are not angry that she doesn't have an opinion, they are angry that she doesn't have their opinion. The absolute audacity to say that this woman doesn't have a mind of her own while thousands of you people swarm her like drones, barking orders at her to say the line. You guys literally operate like the fucking Borg. So what I'm gathering is that Emiru is a grown woman who acts like a frail, silly little girl to entertain fat, dirty incel Asian fetisher weirdos and is okay with that but draws the line at saying Ice is bad. Emiru and Asmon's audience are the same. Incels love Emiru because she confirms the image of the anime bimbo stereotype that incels worship. She definitely cultivated an audience who, in the end of all things, are reactionary. She appeals to violent racists who fetishize Asian women. What the
Based? Actually fucking based right there? Not saying that she actually does that, but that's a good thing, right? But the men actually really like cute girls that do cute things. That's the natural state of women. Women aren't really supposed to be for politics. So when they get into politics, they become vile and angry and emotional. And say and do horrible things so they can't think straight because they're not meant for this stuff. Yes, that also includes me. I'm aware. Uh, like and guys just want like you see these memes all the time on Twitter where guys just want a woman who is just nice to them. That's it. They just want a woman that's nice to them. You know, who's like a mid, you know, a 6 out of 10, who's just nice to them and likes to cook. And they actually want to have standards. But a lot of them just say they just want a woman to be nice to them because a lot these days women aren't fucking nice anymore. They're absolute cunts. And so like that situation is yeah, that is a guy's dream because they just want a woman that is nice to them, loves them, takes care of them after they have a hard day of work, and cooks for them. That's all you have to do as a woman these days. The bar is literally beyond hell. Like I'm not even sure what the layer past hell is, but whatever that is, that's literally the bar. And it's not that hard to be a decent woman in the modern age because the bar is so fucking low. We don't even have super high beauty standards anymore. That's literally fucking it. So if she appeals to that, good for fucking her because very few women have that. Anymore. That's why VTubers are so popular because it's cute girls doing cute things once again. They're playing video games with their tits out. Wow, men like that. Imagine my fucking shock. That's literally what men. They're saying it's such a bad thing because they are ugly women, if they're women at all, and they are jealous that these women who are feminine get attention. That's it.
fuck is this Asian fetish thing? Are they just saying this because she's fucking Asian? Like, I'm trying to find a clip of Emiru saying sucky sucky $5 or something, but it doesn't exist. I don't know what to tell you, man. It's not a coincidence that she answered the question this way, and that her fan base consists heavily on Asian fetishes. I don't know where this is coming from. And the woman saying this is literally an OnlyFans, like an Asian OnlyFans model. Like, I'm sorry, are you really the person to be talking about fetishization here? The most insane part of all of this had to be when her ex-boyfriend, her allegedly abusive ex-boyfriend, posted his own ice in the middle of his ex-girlfriend being canceled for not saying that. Like, how fucking petty do you have to be to subtweet your ex like that? Another character involved in all this is former booby streamer Kaceytron.
It reminds me of whenever Amaranth started wearing a cowboy hat, because that's whenever she started going like full Nazi, basically. She started wearing the cowboy hat. It's like when
So I'm covering up this woman right here, Kaceytron. I've heard her name before, but I never like paid attention. Like I don't really care about random e-thoughts. I don't care about like online drama between content creators generally. But if this is what she looked like before, where's that booby shot here? Let's see, we're at 15 minutes and 33 seconds.
Former
This is what she looked like before. face is mid, but I mean, hey, she's got nice tits, so she's a win in my book here.
Booby streamer Kaceytron.
It reminds me of when
And this is what she looks like now. Women have kids. Like, you've hit the wall. Please, please get off the internet. You've hit the wall. At least put on makeup. Like, if we're gonna continue on with this. Or you should have switched over to become an anime woman instead. Because here's the thing about women, okay? And I don't actually like attacking people based off their looks because that's outside of their control. For the most part, unless they're fat, then that's an exception, right? But if you're going to be a titty streamer, right, and you're going to show your face online as a woman, your attractiveness is literally your currency. Now, there is obviously a problem with hoflation, where there are way too many women online that are attractive, and that makes a little bit unreasonable. I'm not gonna say unreasonable standards. That's not the right thing that I'm trying to say here. But there's basically a lot of attractive women online, and so it becomes a race to the top on who's the most attractive. And then there's also this belief that even a mid, a 6 out of 10 is, attractive or not, so she should do OnlyFans. That's not definitely not the case here. But if you're actually gonna show your face and not hide behind an anime woman, then you need to if you're you have to invest in your looks because that's literally your commodity as a woman online. There's a reason why Shue in her mid-30s still wears a face full of makeup. She looks attractive, but she also has like 30 pounds of makeup on her. And Emiru also has about 30 pounds of makeup on her too. I obviously she still has some sort of base that watches her, as you can see in the chat, but man, that's all she looks like now is that she is an old hag that has no kids attacking a younger who's probably not that much younger in the grand scheme of things. I think she's like what, 20? I think Emery's like what, 29 or something like that. Kaceytron looks like she's in her late 30s though. But still, right, who's hit the wall and is jealous that Emery is still more popular than she is compared to when she was a titty streamer.
it reminds me of whenever Amarath started wearing a cowboy hat because that's whenever she started going like full Nazi basically. She started wearing the cowboy hat. It's like whenever these Texas girls in like these Austin, Texas streamer circles start wearing cowboy hats, that's whenever you gotta watch out.
A woman in Texas wearing a cowboy hat? Lord, take me out. Take me out back behind the shed. Put me out of my misery if I ever become this politically brain rotted. Holy shit.
Like, you know that she probably has like weird incels donating her hundreds of dollars. It's because, like, in my opinion, like, it's all a facade to appeal to the worst type of men. Because, like, really misogynistic, shitty incel like men, they like a woman that doesn't have any opinions. I think that she also plays into how
women are better when they're silent. However, I will give Kaceytron something though. She's got a kind of like an ASMR voice. If she once again put on some makeup and try to take care of herself, because she looks like she needs a shower. I covered her up again because, I figure the anime woman is probably better. Um, but, like, she looks like she needs a shower. So if she did actually hide behind, like, a VTuber or PNG, whatever the case is, her voice would be a lot better. She wouldn't do, like, ASMR content instead.
a lot of incels will fetishize Asian women. Her whole platform is just like appealing to like the worst fucking men. She's like basically like she's like a pick-me for like incel freaks.
So this fucking pick-me shit, dude, it's gonna be the death of me. Before making this video, I watched a bunch of Emiru stuff, and I saw no signs of like pick-me behavior at all. At least with some streamers or some YouTubers. People could be like, oh, they criticize women, so they're trying to be like one of the good ones, and they're a pick-me. Like, okay, sure, like, that's retarded. We all know that's retarded. But at least I can like kind of see how is Emiru a pick-me? She doesn't even do that shit. Like, where is the pick-me thing coming from?
I'm a pick-me. I'm a pick-me. I criticize women all the time. I fucking hate women. I'm a woman myself and I hate myself. I am a pick-me and I don't really give a shit. Suck my cock.
No, really though, what makes her a pick-me and not the booby streamer or OnlyFans models calling her a pick-me? You are literally selling your body for men to consume. If men do not pick pictures of your ass, you can't pay rent. There's no bigger pick-me on earth than a fucking porn star. And me. I don't care about being called a pick-me. I've been doing this for over a decade now. I'm used to it. I've been called it thousands of times. I'm a 35-year-old married mother. I do not give a shit I do care, however, when other women are called pick-me for the crime of not following a hive mind. I see it so often in like the VTuber community. Like all these VTuber anime women will be called pick-me's for just saying their opinions. You have to understand, like, to these people, whenever a woman has like an opinion that is not like the corporate HR approved opinion of the week, whenever a woman doesn't toe the line of the current thing, in this case, whenever a woman doesn't say anything, she's called a pick-me. You know, she just must have these opinions for men. No other reason. Every woman is secretly a big progressive feminist. And if they're not, they're just doing it for male attention. Because I'm sure someone who looks like this.
I mean, there's a reason why women can't be based. Because at the end of the day, they do advocate for things that benefit themselves because that's how women work. They don't really care too much about society. They only care about what benefits them to prolong whatever power influence they have against men. In a feminist case, it's about, government control and being able to manipulate and just completely bull crush men. Even though that makes them unhappy in the long run. They're fucking narcissistic, sadistic assholes because they don't actually have children. And so therefore it gets, and between birth control and SSRIs and everything else, cocktail of drugs that are and everything else, it turns them into mental freaks. So there's a slight argument there. And, I'm no different. I don't think women should have responsibility or accountability because they can't take responsibility or accountability. But as a woman, obviously, that benefits me because then if a man does everything for me, then I don't have to worry about anything, right? It's a win-win-win all around. Now, I genuinely believe that that's how women actually fucking work. Because I'm looking at all these women and I'm realizing, man, they dodge accountability like a fucking black father playing child support here. Like, it's actually insane. And go back looking in history, it's roughly the same situation to a lesser degree, but there's a reason why they weren't fighting in wars, or being involved in politics, or really doing anything like super hardcore, other than taking care of the fields and the family. So, yeah, but still.
Is really starving for male attention.
And then in my opinion, it's like she's not entertaining whatsoever. She's like, I would literally rather watch paint dry.
So true, because you know what is far more entertaining than a cute, high-energy cosplay streamer reacting to memes? This. This is way more entertaining. And if you don't agree, you're just like an incel. Okay, bitch. Eventually, after a few days of being dogpiled by the most annoying people on Earth, Emiru came out with a statement.
Hello, it's very rare I will speak my mind, but I'd rather get my thoughts out there, so apologies if this is long. There's a clip from my stream that's been circulating a lot, so I'd like to explain it for anyone who was hurt or shocked by it. It should go without saying that no one deserves to live their life in fear of being killed or taken away from their homes or families, regardless of who is doing it, but especially not because of ICE or any other government agency. I understand the world is a very cruel and messed up place. You don't have to study politics or actively read the news to know that. I would never want to invalidate anyone who struggles with those things, and an agency causing fear and suffering deserves zero support. To me, that's not even political, it's basic human empathy.
Now, I thought that statement was perfectly fine. My issue with it is, she didn't have to make it. She was basically forced to come out and say her opinion. So did these freaks finally back off once Emiru made her opinion about ICE?
I don't remember the full statement. I know it was longer than whatever Shoe had up there because it was a really long fucking statement there. I actually didn't agree with like half her statement because she not only did she bend the knee, but she also basically said fuck ICE and all that fun stuff. So she bent the knee, said what they said, and made also horrible opinions in the process. So not only did whatever respect it did have for her lost because of the whole giving blood in the water, but also her opinions were dog shit. She was much more likable when she didn't have opinions.
Clear? No. Of course not.
Nazi response. TLDR, go f yourself in your PR apology. And there it is. Of fucking course she's another dumb c***. Girl, we are not as dumb as you look. You're still a racist chud, but continue to enjoy the money you get from your incel audience because they're disgusting, just like you. All I hear is, I support Israel and my name is Emiru. Wait,
the fuck?
What? Where the f did Israel come from?
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
I don't like to talk about politics equals I'm a Nazi and I'm ashamed of my opinions. Everyone knows what's up. She's a fascist in disguise and is squirming. Emiru, you are garbage Nazi-loving c***. You got orange around your mouth. Say F you, Asmongold. If you're neutral, if you're neutral, you might as well say you're MAGA. Stand for something, ho. That's what Trump wants, for everyone to be quiet about it. The idea.
So, not to agree with the left here, especially with such a stupid tweet like that. But technically, with their stance being everything's political, and with their stance meaning that if you're not actually actively supporting us, then you're against us, technically being neutral is a political stance these days. Do I personally agree with that? Not really. If it had my world, being neutral would be neutral, and that means you just don't have a specific political stance and you're apolitical. But by not bending the knee, by not actually toeing with what the left says, you're going against what they want, which means you don't actually agree with them. And that pisses them off. Hence why even after this apology, though she kind of did make a kind of dumb apology, with her whole thinking that she didn't even realize that they were talking about ice, that she's talking about like ice cubes or something like that. Whatever dumb situation that was. Like that's why they're not happy with her, because she already made her stance on neutrality. She should have just continue with it, because being neutral means you're already against them.
Get off the internet is so fucking ignorant. This dumb cunt needs to shut her fucking mouth. Thank God her downfall is happening. I've been hating on her since day one and knew something was off about her. Not a good statement. She implicitly disavowed ICE, but not so much the actual Trump admin.
Yeah, you disavowed ICE, but what about the whole Trump administration? They're like literally the mouse from If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. I was like reading that book to my toddler the other day and I was like, oh my god, this is literally Twitter. You cannot give them an inch, dude.
Of course are incel fans swooping in to protect the poor little 28-year-old.
Ah yes, incels. Known for defending women online. What? What the f does the word incel even mean anymore? Does it just mean man now? It just means man. Man I do not like.
I had no idea this was a thing until yesterday. How come no one told me Emiru low-key a femcel?
Femcel! Emiru's a femcel! Oh my Do people just not know what words mean anymore?
No.
How are they coming to these conclusions?
I mean, have you looked at her? I mean, look at her. Look at her. Just look at her. Look at her.
Yeah, sorry, I don't see it. I think you guys just might be mentally ill.
We need to do something about these male-centered women.
Okay, first of all, nothing is more male-centered than centering your life around hating men. Men just live rent-free in your fucking head. Take it up with God, go to therapy, do literally anything else than make it our problem.
Fuck her, and especially fuck her bestie Asmongold. I hope they get kirked.
There we
30-year-old
go.
woman too scared to say fuck ICE to keep her incel audience happy. Let's hope she gets abused again. Couldn't happen to a better person. Next time this cunt is assaulted, I'm gonna laugh and laugh. Fuck her and fuck ICE and fuck you if you support this cunt.
Once again, they want you dead. I keep on saying this. I keep on fucking saying this. I've been saying this for months now. Even before Charlie Kirk got assassinated. That they just want you dead. If you disagree with them, they want you dead. They'll cheer on your death, dance on your grave. If you disagree with them, you're the enemy, and therefore you must be absolutely deleted from the face of existence. And so, therefore, Emiru should die. Therefore, you should die. Therefore, a random fucking Twitter anon should also die. They literally don't fucking care, because they just want to win. They only care about power and having complete control. And if you go against them, you should die.
Emiru deserved what Miskiff did to her. Fuck Emiru for supporting ICE. I genuinely hope this bitch gets oh, okay. I reported that one.
Wait, what was this one?
ICE. I genuinely hope
this bitch gets, rapes at our next meetup. I might hate these apolitical uwu women more than actual Nazis at this point. Okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. I mean, all of them are bad. I probably, in my opinion, reporting all of them would probably be the best bet.
this bitch gets oh, okay. I reported that one. Holy shit. What is wrong with these people?
See, you don't understand. I'm good guy, which makes it okay for me to say f***ed up things about bad guy. You think saying that to someone is f***ed up? Well, you should be abused too, because you're probably also bad guy. It's called being on the right side of history, Chud. Look it up.
Nazis deserve death, and silence is compliance.
May I just remind the audience that this is what she said.
If you need a streamer who doesn't even know anything about politics to tell you about politics, you probably just need to get off the internet.
Ladies and gentlemen, a Nazi that deserves death. What?
After making her terrible statement full of lies, Emiru decided to follow right-wing grifter ShoeOnHead. Of course Emiru is now following a fellow pathetic pick-me for being quiet about ICE. They both don't want to piss off their 100% right-wing gooner fanbase.
For the record, my fan base is probably like 70% right-wing and 80% gooner. Okay, but for some reason, they didn't mind when I came out and harshly criticized ICE in my last video. Yeah, some disagreed, but for the most part, they didn't care. As long as you aren't preaching from an ivory tower with no nuance, rhyme, or reason, people don't care. I'll say some shit.
I know, I'm actually curious. I don't think I looked at the comments. Did I look at the comments of the last ShoeOnHead video? Because, like, I know I was pretty angry. And then I know you guys in chat were pretty angry too. And I saw some other, like, reactions more or less on it that were pretty unhappy. But at the end of the day, I don't hate her, right? I think she was one of her worst opinions of all time. And it was disappointing and upsetting because for multiple different reasons, which I covered in that video. But I still don't hate her for it. I don't want her to die. I like Shoe. I've been a fan of Shoe since I don't know, 13, 14 years old, something along those lines, 15, I don't know. Back in the Gamergate days, okay? Like she said in that video, I apparently I'm going into the nursing home because of how long I've been watching her. Like, I still like her. You can like people with different opinions. You can be friends with people with different opinions. I know with the left making everything political, I know that because they are pretty violent and vile overall, it's been hard, borderline impossible to actually be friends with them. Mostly because they stop being friends with you and then they want you dead. But I still subscribe to the belief that as long as a person's not completely insane, you can still be friends with them even if you have different political opinions. I know, fascinating concepts, but it's possible. And you can still like people even if you have different political opinions. It's still possible. They just have to be a little bit reasonable.
Like, we should decommodify housing. And the right wingers in my audience are just like, okay, commie mommy. These people cannot fathom a universe where people just disagree. Oh, you're just scared. You don't want to upset your chud audience. I upset my chud audience every goddamn day. You're the ones terrified of your own fucking cult. God forbid you only agree with 99% of the hive mind approved opinions. God have mercy on your soul. I do not envy you. Once you bend the knee to these people, once you apologize or capitulate, it's over. These people don't actually want an apology. They want to humiliate you. They want to drag you down. At the end of the day, they have found a socially acceptable way to bully people. That's what this is. A lot of people in response to Emiru's statement were like, why did you apologize to the mob? You know, you bent the knee, you're a coward. And honestly, people don't realize how insane it can get. These people, the cult of the crybully, they come in swarms, they get in your head, they prey on your empathy, they isolate you from your friends, they make you feel like a terrible person for having milquetoast normal ass opinions.
Well, this is why women shouldn't be online. I say that as a woman online. I know, I mean, like, I'm like, this is like top tier hypocrisy coming from me today. That wasn't the original plan, but it's what's happening here. Well, like, seriously, like, I get they're fucking nasty. I have seen what they've done to some of my favorite creators, and they have come after me from time to time too. But you can just ignore them. You can just mute threads. You can turn off the phone. I know that's hard, especially when you're bigs like Emiru and Shu, so maybe I don't have the full scope of this and my personal opinion. I know you have to get online the next day and continue creating content, and then you're gonna have people like raiding your stream and demanding this kind of stuff. But it's the internet. It's a vile, horrible place that has lots of fun and amazing things too. If you're going to be making content, you need to have thick skin, and if you need to take a few days off the internet, then you can just take a few days off the internet. It's possible. Like, if you have a regular ass job, it's super easy. If you're the top female streamer on Twitch, where you're making a shit ton of money, I'm sure she can probably afford a few days off. There are different things that you can do to make your life better, to make it easier to handle online discourse, especially when there is controversy. I get they're nasty. I get they're vile. They're horrible. But it's if they tell you that you should die, you laugh at them. You tell them that you should be raped, you laugh at them. Like the only time, and maybe I don't know. Let's once again, I'm not coming from the right perspective because I haven't fully dealt with it myself to the same extent. I've had them come into my life and on Twitter and say all these horrible things, but like I said, I just ignore them.
Or in this case, no opinion. And when you are someone who is not used to dealing with these types of people, or you are someone in like a vulnerable state of mind, it is very easy for these cult-like tactics to work. This shit works especially well with women in particular, not to be sexist, but it's just true. Honestly, now that I think about it, the only people who are immune to this are like autistic people. I swear to God, people on the spectrum are immune to the crybully tactics. What happened is Emiru just saw like a shit ton of people who were mad at her, and she wanted to do the correct thing. Unfortunately, this is just gonna make it worse. And they're moving on to one of their favorite tactics.
The big question in everyone's mind is, well, are you still friends with Asmongold?
While it is appreciated that you are taking a stand and clarifying the clip, you do continue to be vague about how deep your associations with Asmon are. So hopefully you've cut ties with that hate-mongering Nazi troll Asmon, right? Glad you made this and owned up to it, but you're still friends with Asmongold, so it doesn't read as earnest. Almost a decent explanation, but the elephant in the room is that your friendship with Asmongold is holding this back from seeming sincere. Okay, now what about your best friend Asmongold? Denounce Asmon or I'm not taking this seriously. You're friends with Asmold.
See, this is what she meant earlier when she brought up when you give a mouse a cookie. Exact same situation here. Once you bend the knee, they keep on going after you. Just don't fucking bend the knee because once they smell the blood, they're gonna start attacking you even more and demanding more and more reparations demands, whatever their case is. In Emiru's case, since she's been around for so long, there's a laundry list of things they can go after her for the most mundane, stupid, different reasons here. But it's like, who cares? That's why you have to ignore them.
Asmongold?
I'm pretty sure she's still friends with Asmongold.
Now, whatever you think of Asmongold, he is friends with Emiru. They are friends, even though they disagree with each other. Crazy, right?
I literally said, like, I don't agree with the things he says. Like, what do y'all want me to do? Like, fucking shoot him on stream?
Yes, that is what they want you to do. Yes.
Yeah,
Around 2018,
literally.
I was facing nearly daily harassment for being friends with someone who was on the right. Hundreds of people were on my ass like every day. They were calling my job. They got emails of my family members. It was like nonstop. Now, this person was a good friend of mine, but in order to get all these people off my back, I did probably the cringiest thing ever, and I publicly disavowed her. Publicly disavowed a friend of mine over political differences. Now, for those of you who are new here, that sounds like something I would never do, but I did it. I bent the knee to a faceless mob of people who hate me. And in return, I received nothing. The harassment didn't stop, the hate didn't stop. Well, needless to say, karma is real, and the same thing happened to me years later. I was publicly disavowed by friends over political differences. This story ultimately does have a good ending. Me and my friend from 2018, we made up years ago, but looking back on all this in 2026 is extremely embarrassing. And if I knew what I knew now, I would have just told those people to go fuck themselves. But in the moment, it's—
In Shue's defense, to a certain degree, this was 2018. And this was still, well, Gamergate started in 2014, and she was around in the era, things weren't as bad as it was it hit like 2020, 2021. That's when the height of the rabid mob of leftists online got to probably the most, its tipping point, the extreme here. So in 2018, that's when things were heightening up, right? Because like 2014 Gamergate, this one, a lot of this shit started. Things weren't super bad. Then 2016 came around. Trump got into office. You know, the leftists lost their minds. There's constant, every single day, mainstream media going after Trump. With it, then there's the whole PewDiePie censorship that also happened roughly around this time period. YouTube started cracking down a lot more things. The culture war was in full swing at that point, where leftists had the institutions to control between 2016 and 2018, as things were heading into 2020, essentially. But not to defend Shue for what she did, because even back then, it was becoming obvious to not bend the knee. But it was still early to mid enough where I can kind of understand why she did so, because it wasn't as common. People were being doxxed, people were being milkshake, people were being punched in the street by Antifa, but that was all IRL stuff, not like online. And when you're being doxxed, well, I mean, she's always been showing her face, but like when your family members being doxxed and their lives being threatened, you do kind of panic in those cases, especially back in like 2018 when this wasn't as common. It was becoming a lot more common, but this was still roughly in the early to mid days, like I said. It's now 2026. Emiru has been around for ages now. We went through the whole 2020, the 2023 COVID scenario before Elon bought on Twitter. I feel like everybody should know that cancel culture is absolutely toxic waste of space, and leftists should be completely disregarded. Unless you're a leftist yourself.
incredibly stressful, and you just kind of want it all to stop. And you will do whatever you can to make it stop. So I understand why Emiru came out and made a statement. I just really hope she doesn't wind up disavowing friends over political differences like I did. It was a huge mistake, and it is not worth it. Because you are going to find yourself surrounded by people who see you as a temporary ally and not a real friend. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a never apologize person. You should apologize if you actually do something wrong, if you actually wronged someone. But you shouldn't apologize to like a nebulous, faceless mob of people while facing down a barrel of a gun.
There is nothing that she could say and no amount of money she could donate that could convince me she's not a soulless ghoul like all the men she's happily surrounded herself with for years.
There is nothing you can ever do to please these people, so why bother? They will not be happy until you kill yourself, and even then they will dance on your grave. And I know, like, with everything going on right now, like, is this really a video about cancel culture in 2026? And it's like, yeah, I don't know. First of all, you should expect that. You clicked on a ShoeOnHead video. But second of all, yeah, I feel like this is kind of important to talk about. I feel like this type of thing is part of the reason we are where we are right now. This type of
It is also the fact that it's still happening in 2026 and Emiru still bent the knee. I feel like that's the important factor. She's been around on the internet for such a long time. She's lived through the whole. I'm assuming, I don't know how long she's been around because I don't pay attention to Twitch slots, like I said. But I'm assuming she was at least mildly paying attention to 2020, 2023 and saw how bad cancel culture was at that time period. I know how they just go after blood like that. And now it's been, 3 years later since things have sort of calmed down and she's still doing it. I feel like that's important because there's still why are you still doing this at 26? Like, you should have learned your lesson. And it's a good lesson for other people to still not do it after all, and to kind of make examples. Okay, not to make examples out of them, but to use them as examples for why you shouldn't do it, because it's still in 2026. It's the same tactics. You're still bending the knee, and you still get nothing in return, all other than making a fool out of yourself. And now you lost the support that you did have, because a lot of people were telling her, "Don't bend the knee. Did nothing wrong. You said nothing wrong." And now she's lost that support by bending the knee, and she doesn't even gain favor with the leftists after all, and it's 2026. Also, the fact that I've noticed recently that there's been a lot of cancellations in 2026. So obviously, this whole Emiru situation that we're talking about here, and like I said, I don't usually touch VTuber related things because that's a fucking snake pit right there. But it does go into the realm of political, so I'll make an exception for it. But like Rev says, Desu and Straub, his wife, had a partnership with Advanced GG, was an energy drink company, and they got dropped a few weeks ago because they were supporting ICE, and a bunch of leftists were canceling. The leftist VTubers were canceling their sponsorships because they were sponsored with Advanced GG as well, which is retarded because they're literally the biggest ones that are supporting Advanced GG. Like, gamer subs is more popular than Advanced GG. The only ones keeping it alive were Rev and Straub, and then they dropped them, and now Advanced GG's in the fucking gutter. They're not going to survive like another year or two, more than likely, because of this. And it's like, why are we doing this in 2026 again? You should know better. They've been with you for such a long time. Like, come on, what are we doing here, folks? This is this is VTuber drama. This is like what? Okay. And then there was the thing with Makeshift with Celestium. Oh, and her plushie got funded completely, really quickly too, by her own supporters. And then Makeshift's like, yeah, nope, never mind. We're not gonna bother with your plushie because you support ICE and you're Christian. Okay, the fuck's wrong with you? And then in non-VTuber related things, Southwest also fired a lady for supporting Trump and ICE and posting that on Twitter, and leftists went after those. Went after them too. And it's like these all three companies, even though two of them are related to VTuber drama, they're still companies that still make money, that still make profits, that still essentially fired, more or less, or completely gotten rid of and rejected profits that they would have made probably a ton of, at least in Advanced GG and Makeshift's case, but even with Southwest, for political opinions, for being on the right. And then the Emerald cancellation. This all has happened within like a month time period. All four of these events have occurred. The woke is not dead. I mean, Super Bowl's a good example of this too, where woke's not dead either. The left still has complete control of these institutions. They still, because they are so violent and so vile, they still put fear into the hearts of these companies, either because they're true believers, like I think Southwest is a true believer, also Makeshift as well, or they fully support the leftist cause because of DEI and ESG, or they're actually scared of the mob, like Advanced GG, which was fucking retarded. Rob and Straub were literally things keeping them afloat. Oh my god, that too. Ugh. Ugh. Anyways, sorry. Pissed me off. I know I don't talk about these situations, but I do have opinions on these kind of things from time to time. And it's like, okay, can we move on? Trump's the president.
Stuff drives people away from the left. And more importantly than that, it's just evil. I saw some leftists covering Emiru being cancelled, and they were like, the cultural shift is here. Woke 2.0, we don't play around, we're mean now. Woke 2.0? Because Woke 1.0 worked out so well for you guys in the country, right? You're supposed to learn from your mistakes, not double down and get worse. I don't know how you can look at the last 10 years and be like, we have got to get more annoying. Like, what are you doing? Attacking normie streamers for not wanting to be involved in political discourse? Also, I feel like this goes without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm not smearing, like, the left as a whole, okay? This isn't Fox News. This isn't the Nuxanor channel. I'm well aware there are plenty of left-wing people, especially in my audience, who feel the same way I do. I'm talking about a certain faction of the mostly online left. I was about to say,
No. I'm sorry, Shu. I get where you're coming from in here because obviously there's exceptions to every rules, right? But when 99.9% of it is shit, I'm not going to eat the 0.1% that's chocolate. Okay? Like, I'm not gonna bother with that. I'm not gonna risk eating the shit just for the 0.1% that's chocolate. At this point, they all look the same to me. I'm like, I'm not sacrificing my country for all these good immigrants. I'm not gonna be sacrificing my kids because of the good gays and trans or women, right? Like, I'm not gonna send my kid to an all-black school and sacrifice them that way either. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to paint them all on the same brush because At this point, the vast majority are. I'm not gonna waste time making differences and exceptions because, well, there's no point when they have the most control. Like, I know she's basically saying the same thing about the whole like woke 2.0 thing and doesn't understand where they're coming from. Like, oh, it hasn't done them very well the past 10 years. That's because as much as I love Shue, and maybe she's sanitizing her videos because she is very normie safe and I'm not. The left just cares about power, and they still very much actually have power themselves. Even if it is not the even if it's still not the same online, they still have it everywhere else. You're seeing in TV shows, movies, um, video games still. I mean, there was the whole High Guard situation. This was really Concord 2.0. Overwatch was finally releasing like a sexy female character, but then the VA went fucking batshit insane. I guess she's always batshit insane to be fair, and demanded that, she not be made for, male gaze, and now they're gonna change her. And obviously all the cancellations that I already brought up. The left is very much still in control. Colleges, Congress, like maybe the Trump administration is not far right enough in my personal opinion. Though at that point I'm more punching right in that case. They still have influence. It's still very apparent. Just because Twitter, X, is mostly dominated by the right, and a lot more people are becoming more right leaning. Normies don't do anything at all. Their opinions don't matter at the end of the day. It matters when it comes to voting, and so you still need to appeal to them, and you still need to appeal to normies for a lot of things, for actually, pushing forward for different stuff. But at the end of the day, normies don't have the institutional control. Normies don't have the government control. And so, but, leftists do, and they're the problem.
It's like a loud minority, but I don't even think it's a minority anymore. I think it's like a majority. Like I feel like I'm one of the only ones like holding down the fort. Like me and Anna Kasparian. And every day I'm called a right-wing grifter for being like, hey, maybe we can focus on the issues that like actually affect the working class. Things that actually help people, not stupid fucking shit like going after e-girl cosplay streamers. Like, can we just get back to the fact that we are all being ruled by satanic billionaire pedophiles who may or may not be eating children, please? Thank you. In conclusion, Emiru did nothing wrong. People are tired of having politics shoved down their throat, and you don't need to speak about things you don't want to speak about. You don't have to do that. You don't have to say the line, actually. This is mass psychosis, rivaling on 2020. These people are trying to socially ostracize this woman for not putting like a black square on her Instagram. They're just mad at Emiru for not doing like the ice bucket challenge or some shit. Like that's basically what is happening here. If you are going to streamers for political information, you are cooked. If you are going to ShoeOnHead for political information, you are deep fried.
And if you're going to Amalgamyte for political opinions, you are literally burning in hell and you're basically just glue. You're a lost cause.
That was that little video. If you liked my yapping, please subscribe. And if you can, donate to my Patreon down below. It really helps the channel out and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you guys very soon with a new video. Bye!
Okay, I'm gonna skip to the end. No! Where's it at?
Say it!
Okay, there it is. I was like, am I being cut, Blackdeer? Where's the little outro thingy? Come on. You can't say the left. Best you can do is separate those who want to leave and move them to a safe place and give them a new start without influence. Yes. They must be completely crushed out. Like, it's simply, once again, I'm gonna fucking beat this drum to the day I fucking die. But it's all about power. It really is all about power, at the end of the day. And the left has complete control, so the only way to do anything about them is just to completely get rid of them. Their legal means, obviously.